to Dropping In, a podcast of storytelling and interviews with your host, Winter Olympian Mercedes Nicoll.
Thank you so much for dropping in today. This is season 13. I'm dropping in with some athletes and some doctors. We are talking about athlete injuries, recovery, and wellness. This is episode 112, and we're recording Thursday, September 26, 2024. Now, if you're watching, you can see my next guest right here, so it's no surprise to you. But if you're listening, let me also just introduce our next guest. This guest is a two-time Grey Cup champion and All-Star Middle Linebacker who played 8 years in the CFL. After a significant concussion in 2011, he founded Wellmen, a men's health and adventure club aimed at pushing men out of their comfort zones. His work has made him a key voice in men's health organizations like Movember, Canadian Men's Health Foundation, and Bell Canada. Shea's passion for play, well-being, and leadership drives everything he does, including his role as Director of Business Development at Sphere, where he helps teams thrive, supporting team growth, productivity, and mental health. This entrepreneur has revitalized Whistler's Racket Club, where we're going to talk about tennis lessons, running exciting team-building events with Axewood axe throwing and Avalanche snowball blitz. He's gotten into golf and is on a path to becoming the world long drive champion in golf with a personal best of 249 yards.
No, 400.
Oh, sorry, 429. I've got too many things going on at once. 400. Yeah, I know. That wouldn't sound that long, hey?
Oh, good job.
I can't wait to drop in with this father friend, two-time Grey Cup champion, entrepreneur, and advocate, Shea Emry. How are you today?
I'm doing amazing.
Thanks
Just got back from the gym.
Okay.
So that's a good start to the day.
It is a good start to the day. Where do you go to the gym in Whistler?
I go to Altitude.
Oh, in Creekside. Okay,
Creekside
cool.
there.
Sweet.
Always done a good job at keeping the place clean and
Nice.
So it's happy and healthy.
Awesome. Okay. Shea, I have put these on my phone so that you wouldn't see them because they're 10 rapid fire questions that you've never seen before. Are you ready to drop in?
Ready, let's drop in.
Okay, gotta get your microphone closer to your mouth. Closer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there we go. Number 1, what's the best part about being a football player?
The locker room.
What?
You got a group.
These they're never rapid, so you can expand.
You got a group of 75 friends at the ready all the time. It's amazing.
Okay. I didn't know where you were going to go with that. I like that. Okay. Number 2, axe throwing or snowball fights?
Snowball fights, 100%.
Have you been axe throwing longer than snowball fights?
Yeah. So did the snowball fight when I was at the Whistler Racket Club up until last winter.
Yeah.
And then so I've been axe throwing for about 14 years.
And that was your own business before, right?
Yeah. So I still own and operate an axe throwing facility in Vancouver.
Okay.
But in the process of shutting all things down so I can really focus on making an impact in the health and well-being community.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Number 3, what's your go-to pump-up song before a big event? Do you listen?
Right now, I'm really on like the Viking war music thing. So.
Okay, is that like from the TV show?
No,
well,
some of them are from the TV show, but yeah, like trying to eliminate all words and just like get mentality down. So I'm just focusing on the task.
Okay. I'm like from the TV show?
ADHD management. Okay. Just like, I don't need words.
Less is more.
Yes.
Less is more
Precisely.
at this time. Okay. Number 4, if you could play any other sport professionally, what would it be?
Golf.
Well, you're already doing that.
Honestly, if I was going to be able to play any other sport professionally, it would have probably been tennis.
Ooh.
Just because you get to go everywhere in the world and everything that you do is like top class, like the most proper clubs and experiences.
Yeah.
So that's what it was.
It's a bit different.
It's
funny. I had Joseph on, who was a fencer.
Yeah.
And he's taken up tennis, and he's like, I would be a tennis. I was like, that's a good call. And it's like, well, you can do it longer, I think.
Yeah. Yes. And again, it's just like it's a great community, right? When you're like everyone's and it's, when you're watching the sport, it's such a it's an art.
Do you play pickleball?
I play both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't played in a while, but I can, and I'm down to play.
Nice. Okay. I tried pickleball and I was like, I'm gonna go back to tennis. But that's a personal preference. Personal preference. Okay. Number 5. What's your guilty pleasure food after or a tough workout? Because I know you still work out. He's jacked. Can you see him? He's super strong.
Guilty pleasure is I'm a candy guy always.
Oh, sweet or like sour?
Both. Like honestly, if there's something sweet, if my kids have anything in the house, I am the garber. I will take it and I will eat it, and that is like they know not to leave anything. They hide it from me now. Actually,
okay.
So
good thing Halloween's coming around the corner. You're gonna
they'll get restocked for sure.
Where do you live in Whistler?
We live down near Alta Lake,
okay.
off of Lorimer there.
So really cool thing in Whistler for our listeners and viewers is that we have like one community area where the like little cul-de-sac gets all done up and does Halloween down there. So there's kind of like one spot to go. Is that where you go?
Yes,
to
that's
Tapley's
where we go.
Farm?
Tapley's Farm is the spot.
Yeah.
And
do you bring your own bag?
You're typically going to find me with like some sort of light beacon like you would at a music festival.
Okay.
But it's for my kids to find us.
That's awesome. Because they can kind of go on their own.
Now they can. 8 and 10.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Number 6. What's one book you think everyone should read? That's a tough question.
Wow, that is a tough question.
Thanks, AI.
One book I think everyone should read is... I gotta think about.
I know it's a tough one.
Well, right now I'm reading a couple of books. I really liked Phil Knight's book about Shoe Dog. Have you read that?
No, not yet.
It's a great book, and it really just because I would say that I really enjoyed reading it because I grew up on the West Coast.
Okay.
My dad was in the athletics, the track and field scene at the time. Phil Knight was like literally going around to all the track meets and trying to sell his sneakers. And it was all like Oregon, Washington State, and that's kind of where my family's from.
Yeah.
So I've just been a Nike guy, and so that was it. That's why I'm Shoe Dog. There you
Shoe
go.
Dog. No, that's
Quick and dirty. Come on, Shay.
That's on my list. I need to read that. Number 7. Describe your perfect day off in 3 words.
Well, I'd be in Montreal. Okay.
Montreal.
Great food scene there.
Okay.
There's this place called Bota Bota, which is down on the old port on the water.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a Scandinav spa, but on a barge.
Okay.
And so I would start by grabbing a coffee.
Yeah.
Going to Bota Bota. Maybe.
I love that your 3 words are. Or keep going. Keep going.
There you go. Bota Bota.
3 words is hard.
In 3 words?
Yeah, that's hard.
Oh gosh, I didn't even listen to that part. It's like
Montreal.
Montreal, Bota Bota. There you go.
Montreal and food.
Yeah, Bota Bota is a spa, so they have.
Food it's
there,
a spa. Okay.
Yeah, food is probably Olive and Gourmand. They have just like a little Montreal cafe down in the Old Port, and perfect little off
How
day.
often do you get to Montreal?
Not often.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying.
That is your perfect day off.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. What's a hidden talent or hobby most people don't know that you have?
I can hit a golf ball 429 yards.
I know, not 200.
Nobody knows that.
I knew that. You told me that in the grocery store.
I was like, do you know? Because I know that you're a golfer.
I know.
I'm
you'll
super appreciate
into golf.
this.
Yeah.
So that's my hidden talent. It's not so hidden anymore. But anyways.
No. I want. Okay, like what? How?
We already showed you the pipes. No, I've been playing golf.
Golf doesn't really have that much to do about like muscles.
Come on, to get it that far, yeah.
I guess
for sure.
like I would feel like it would be more core than arms.
It's everything. It's just speed.
Wild. It's
right?
Speed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair. I need to see this in person.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9. Here's a fun one. What makes you smile?
My kids.
Oh, I kind of knew you were gonna say that when I
predictable
when I wrote that one.
Yeah. My wife.
So 2 kids. 2 kids.
Yeah, 2 kids, 8 and 10 years old. They're going to school down the street, and
nice. Shout out to the kiddies.
Yeah, Rosen and Clooney.
Number 10. Who's your biggest inspiration in life?
My biggest inspiration in life, I would say, is my mother.
Oh, I love that.
So my mom, when she was born, was born with birth defect.
Okay.
And so she had all these bowel and reproductive system issues.
My God.
So she had about 21 surgeries on her whole system all throughout her life.
Yeah.
Obviously, I arrived somehow, which was very dangerous for her and my dad.
Are you a single child?
No, I have a brother and a sister.
Are you the oldest?
I am the youngest.
Okay.
But my brother and my sister are both adopted.
Okay.
And so they were told they weren't going to have kids. And so
then it happened.
they, created a family, and my brother and sister were fortunate enough to get these awesome parents. And long story short, she just had to fight through having to do an enema pretty much every day of her life to not poison herself. And I know we're going on a
No, I like it. I'm so fascinated.
But, just like
she's
showing up with
human.
positivity, one,
Yeah.
and grit, two, just knowing what you have to do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So that would be it.
She's gone through a lot.
She has, and she just had another surgery to kind of expedite all of that stuff. So she's just and she's been coaching for 40 years, track and volleyball, and is always the coach that everyone's yeah, I remember your mom. She was just always telling people she's a drill sergeant, will get the job done.
Okay.
Many a program. Anyways.
No, I love that.
Love you.
That's amazing. I think that insight gives a lot into how you become who you are as well, for sure. And like you said, grit and drive and passion, and that I think that also makes an athlete. So
for sure.
That was the rapid fire. Shout out to your mom. Shout out to your kids. Let's move on into congratulations. Rapid fire, never easy for anyone.
Thank you.
But we made it.
Wow, that was difficult.
The book one was the challenging one.
That's true. Yeah. I think.
I know, because I don't usually remember the books that I read. I'm like, okay, I've done what one really sticks in my mind. All right. We talked about a concussion in the bio. I know a little bit something about that. We've actually had the opportunity to speak one after another down in Vancouver with the firefighters. North Van. It was such a cool day. And actually, do you remember Nathan who was there? He's a Paralympian.
Yes. Yep.
He is absolutely crushing it right now. He just got medal at Paralympics. I think he just won world championships.
No big deal.
So we were really surrounded by an amazing bunch of athletes that were able to talk to all the firefighters in North Van, which was very, very cool. And that's kind of where we realized, we both been through very similar things. Yours is very different. Football. So I do want to touch on and let you tell your story about concussions.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar timing probably to when you had yours, because when was your
2014.
first? 2014.
Well, that was my third or eighth.
But the one that was hey, I'm gonna maybe pivot here and go in different directions. So with my story, 2011 was when I really got my first diagnosed concussion, where I actually had to pull myself out of sport.
Okay.
And that was also the year that there were 3 NHLers, Wade Belak, Rip Rippon, and Derek Bugard, who all had taken their lives, and they were all enforcers, right? So they're all the guys that were on their team, being the guy that's punching the other guys and getting in the fights and being a part of that kind of mentality of preparation and execution on the day of the game.
Yeah.
And then Junior Seau and Jovan Fletcher, both NFL guys at the time, they both took their lives. And I had gotten a concussion. I was in Montreal. I was doing the dark room.
Yeah.
Don't read.
Yeah, this was back then when they were don't do anything.
Don't do anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't listen.
It's not depressing at all.
I didn't listen for the most part.
Okay.
But I definitely was trying to do a part of it, which is I'm going to stay at home. I'm not going to be a part of the team. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to be silent. I'm going to stay by myself. And that was just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
So long story short, actually, my mom sent me 11 questions because she was writing a book on her experience of, all of her surgeries and coaching and successes and what have you. And it was a revelation for me, because it really exposed what my dad had to go through as a man, supporting her, and what I was crafted from, the experience that I was crafted from. And so it really skyrocketed me into personal development.
What were these 11 questions?
Well,
Were they like
it was
deep
like,
and meaningful?
did you know that what your dad had to go through when I had to do X? Or did you know that, like, if the doctors told us that you were going to be, they basically told us to abort the mission, so to speak, because it could kill me,
her,
right?
her
and me, right?
Right.
And so,
like, you're lucky to be alive.
yeah,
but
and they
also
just let it
this has
ride,
happened.
and they put it in God's hands, and so I just felt I wasn't really acting as with as much. I wasn't doing my parents a service for what they had endured for me to get to where I got to, and just sit there and be like, oh, I'm now like, smoking weed on the couch and like going out partying and spending time with people I shouldn't be spending time with when I'm concussed. And I don't know what my future looked like, and blah, 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 blah. So that was really the trajectory that changed. I went back and
Did they see you doing that? Or like, did they know that was happening? Because I feel like that's kind of part of it. I feel like
honestly,
that's part
my
of the
journey,
concussion journey.
my journey after concussion number
one. That was 2011.
2011. I mean, I'd played 4 years pro football and 10 years of football before that, so that's not my first concussion. But really what it had done is the Wade Belak stuff, all the conversation around concussion being a thing was really unveiled in 2011 when all that happened. And then CTE became a thing. And so I didn't know where I was going or what CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Did I get it?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm asking you.
Mercedes.
Yeah.
So
because if I don't know, the listeners don't know.
CTE in the football world is essentially the byproduct of playing football your whole life.
Okay. Yeah.
Constant hitting of the head.
Hitting. Got it. Yeah.
And so I believe, again, this is only my personal experience. So this was being thrown around. There was lots of conversation around football and concussions, and I was scared.
Yeah.
But I had nothing else that I wanted to do.
Can I ask you before you go on, when you got your concussion in 2011, what were the symptoms that you had? I
just felt my brain move when I hit somebody, and I was like, no, I can't have like, you're not supposed to feel things in there, right? Like actual things, right?
Yeah.
Like the brain.
But were you functioning okay after that?
Everything was great.
Oh, interesting.
And I would say everything is great with a grain of salt, as in like I could still navigate the day. I didn't have dizziness. I didn't have nauseousness. I didn't have all the symptoms that a lot of people do get.
Right.
And even to this day, I haven't had like headache symptoms or anything crazy that I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
But I'm unorganized. I have a difficult time managing my emotions if I'm drinking too much, which I don't do anymore. And just like my experience with post-concussion syndrome or what have you is really my procrastination and my like, the way that I'm navigating the world.
Okay.
Like
that's super interesting. Yeah, that's super interesting. Thanks for clarifying that because a lot of the times everyone's concussions are different, and that's why I ask is exactly that. And that's so wild that you like felt it and everything. So so 2011 concussion, everything been brought to light. What was next for you? What happened after those 11 questions were answered by you?
I founded Wellman. I started to ideate how I could give back to my community. So initially I started talking about, being bullied as a kid and like what drove me to be, a pro football player, which is I don't want people to fuck with me. Can I swear here?
You can swear.
Okay. Fuck.
I'm going to take it off for TV.
Okay. I don't want people to mess with me.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I started getting involved in the team's community program. And then after about a year of that, I just realized that there wasn't enough. I couldn't make enough impact on the community that I felt like I had a voice within. Yeah. Which was like the men's space.
Yeah.
And
which in 2011 really hadn't been touched on.
No.
So you were like really breaking through there. A lot like you got to think about it. Like women in sport is like challenging. But then that got like so much light shed on it so that you were really just breaking barriers there. Very cool.
I mean it's again,
I think that's what I think.
You're right. I'm not like standing here like
No.
I remember when I was having the conversations. Here's a perfect example.
Okay.
I hosted my first men's specific experience in Montreal. I invited 75 of my team members and 5 showed up. It was yoga only, mental health. Okay. With Movember. And I was like, how do I engage the men, the guys that need the support
Right.
in the conversation? So then I started axe throwing. I started
Yeah.
the logger
You
sport
could be a
stuff.
man.
Ugh, like
And then, yeah,
screaming and
'cause
all the things.
a lot of your let's talk about the logger sports,
Mhm.
because I remember when you were doing that out here, and I was like, dude, this guy is just hucking logs over his shoulder.
Yep.
So that was the way to get the buy-in from the men.
Well, it was definitely the Kansas City Shuffle way to have a conversation, right?
Yes.
And so that's really where I went on this trajectory of like trying to trick people. I mean, that's what it was doing. Was like trick
Yeah.
people into feeling comfortable to have the conversation. It's really like
Yes.
settling them down and releasing the barriers and the stigma around men having actual conversations about their human experience. Like
Right.
well, everyone pushes it down, as I've done myself.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that shortly.
Yeah.
Is really, axe throwing and, screaming and bonfires and food was really the connection point where guys were like, that's cool. I'll
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
It was also 10 years too early, because now you say men's group, whatever,
I
everyone's like,
know.
they're everywhere, which is
Yeah.
amazing,
Yeah.
because there's groups of men having conversations around how they fit into that group or not, or how
Mhm.
it works, or
Mhm.
what they've gone through, or what they need, or
Mhm.
what have you. And I just moved on from the facilitation of men's retreats
Mhm.
and adventures with Wellman, and that moved into me facilitating corporate events
Right.
and play
Yeah.
to really break down, whether it be a working relationship where it's like, CEO,
Mhm.
janitor, and we're both throwing axes or snowballs at each other, and we're
Mhm.
having fun, and it's really just like letting the guards down so they can really dive into their leadership training or whatever
Mhm.
happens with their retreat next. I was just kind of the that part,
Breaking
like
down
the
the
catalyst.
barriers
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Let's talk about like some of your struggles.
'Kay.
Because dealing with concussions, dealing with injuries is really challenging. And I want to know, other than the 11 questions your mom sent you, how did you kind of get over and recover
Mm.
from that? But also, it would have been a transition from sport to real life.
Mhm. Well, I haven't. Right. That's
It's an ongoing saga.
truth of the matter. And so I have moved on from my businesses.
Yeah.
I was separated from my wife
Mhm.
for almost 4 years during the pandemic. And largely, there's a lot that goes into that conversation with regards to like the timing of the pandemic, and when I put all my cards into one business,
Right.
and then my obligation to said business,
Mhm.
and not to mention the other businesses, and all of them were based around events.
Mhm.
So
Right. Pandemic. Cue the pandemic.
Yeah.
Boom.
No events, no gathering, no
No.
breaking bread. And that's what,
Yeah.
I owned a restaurant bar, I had an events company, public
Mhm.
speaking,
Mhm.
all of it stopped overnight.
Mhm.
We had just separated about a month before that.
Yeah.
And, a lot of it had to do with the work that I needed to do and the
Yeah.
work that she needed to do. But when it came down to, like, honestly, like, before I dropped her off at the gym, we were having conversations around like me finally acknowledging the byproduct of my concussions
Yeah.
are not, I need to wear sunglasses inside, or that, this light's bother me, or it's, hey, like, noise bothers me.
Yeah.
And when the precipitation changes, like, how like you might
Yeah.
get if you have a knee issue,
Yeah.
and the inflammation, and you can tell it's going to rain tomorrow,
Mhm.
or this after, like, that's how it feels with my head. Because
Interesting.
I mean, again, this is my own diagnosis, but like, happens every single time.
Interesting.
If it's sunny and when there's weather coming in,
Your head
I start to, it doesn't, not about a pain. It's
Yeah.
like almost like a grogginess,
It's like your new Spidey sense.
pretty much. Right. And so
I'm just trying to make a positive on that one.
all that being said, is awareness is key, because
Uh-huh.
it's knowledge, power, all that, and informs my direction on where I want to go and
Yeah.
what I don't want to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to overwhelm my stuff with too many things,
Mhm.
too many tasks, too many conversations.
Mhm.
And really just like that has been the pivot has been simplification.
Yeah.
Just don't have 4 businesses, don't have, right?
Mhm. Do
And
less.
do less.
Like forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Precisely. Yes.
Paul Rudd. No, do less. Do
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to do less because I think also as like an athlete, from like the way that we've lived our lives, it's like go, 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 more, more, more. And then when you retire, you're kind of like, well, I knew I just wanted to keep busy because then I wouldn't have to actually think about real life. And like
Correct.
a lot of people ask me, they're like, oh, how's your head? Like, are you okay now? And I'm like, yeah, like, but I know I need sleep and I know I can't drink wine.
Okay.
So like
There you go.
the way that you find that the change in weather has that an effect on you, and what you've learned takes a while.
Sure does, because it's not a pain in your wrist or
Yeah.
you're every time you take a step your knee hurts,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
so for me it was a slow burn of not being able to manage X, Y, and Z in life.
Mhm.
And I've just been knowing that I'm like, I just need to really stop all things and really hit the reset button.
Yeah.
And so, I've had the opportunity to do that by somehow, some way, working back together with my wife.
Yeah. Awesome.
Through counseling.
Yeah.
Through, deep work personally for myself, personally for her, together as with marriage counselors and what have you.
Yeah.
But we knew that we wanted to have a positive relationship when we were separated, and the optimism and positivity that we brought to our mindsets towards the relationship was really what opened up the conversation for us to actually get back together.
Yeah.
And again, it came back down to a simple fact: just keep it simple and be positive.
Yeah.
Right. Don't hold everything, like don't try and don't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't need to hate me. I don't need to hate, like, just
No.
keep it positive. And that's really been the key component to our success.
That's
which is
awesome.
yeah.
It's so good, because I was going to
keep it
ask
light.
you, like, in your recovery from anything, like, it is vulnerable to say, like, you went to counseling, but it is becoming more and more normal, which I love. I think that's great. What else, like, for your recovery, let's say, like, you went to counseling, were there different doctors that you saw?
Yeah, I mean, I was on the board of a concussion clinic at UBC. I was
Okay.
integrated with all the best psychologists and doctors at UBC. And
Yeah.
this is when I was after playing in the CFL, and I was just like searching to be in the room with the people that knew what was going on. And then, went to cognitive behavioral therapy, went to my own counseling. I entrusted the counselors and guides and people in my life to really reflect back, whether I was listening or not.
Yeah.
Is not part of the question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is I did actually go and seek support.
Yeah.
And that is, you say it's vulnerable. It is, but I've been working out that muscle too.
Yeah.
And I've been working it out with the marriage counselor, with
Yeah.
my personal counselor, with my life coach, with my fitness coach, with my wife, who's also a coach,
Yeah.
and, everyone in between. I
Yeah.
was like, I know that I need help. And I may not have said it that frankly, but like, I've always been like, here's my ideas, here's my direction. What do you think?
Right.
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 And, for the most part, I think people kind of just went like, good job, like, great job, you're doing the work, but not like, you're being an idiot, we need to pivot over here, don't do
Right.
that
Right.
because of how I look or how enthusiastic I was or how positive I was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because again, that's like almost the facade that I was trying to put up because of the concussions or the whatevers.
Which is like, for
Yeah.
me, I totally can understand that. I have a question for you. Was there a moment, and there might have been more than one moment, that your threshold was like, I need help now?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
for instance, for me, like, I was like, oh, my last concussion took me out for 3 months. Maybe this one will be 6 months. And like, then maybe, but it took me a year to be like, all right, you're still pretty messed up.
Yeah.
You need help. Was there a moment like that for you?
I would say there were multiple moments like that I pivoted slightly. I adjusted the course. And what I'm learning is that I just need to make harder decisions faster. And so when you ask about the one moment with regards to concussion recovery, like, I pulled myself out of a football game. I was making really good money. We had just had our first child. We were living in Saskatchewan, and I got my concussion, my next and last big concussion. And I told myself, 3-4 years ago, hey, next time I get a concussion, I'm done. Oh, a year later, next time I get a concussion, I'm done. And then it happened. And I remember not like waking up, it was, shook up a little bit or whatever. I can't really remember, obviously. And
you were out cold from that.
That was the first and only time I'd ever been like, I knocked myself out because I hit the guy right on the hip.
Okay.
So the hips don't move really because everything's moving in a direction. So I hit him on the hip. My neck kind of went this way, and then I was fine after that. Like no headaches, nothing. Right.
Yeah.
But I played it up for like legitimately the whole year because I'm like, I'm not going back in there.
Yeah. And
so we got in the car coming back from the game, and I told Dev, I was like, oh, that's the last football game I'll ever play. And we're like, what?
You'd mentally decided the last time that but you decided years ago, the next one I'm out. That's super interesting.
The scary part was when I got up and I was wearing green at the time, and I'd always played in a different color.
Okay.
And my son and wife were in the stands, and I remember, why am I wearing green? Where do we live? Why are we here?
Yeah.
And that was like the confusion part. And then I made the decision, I'm not going back out there.
Yeah.
And then that was like, from a taking care of my health standpoint, that was one big one.
Yeah.
And then I remember from a business standpoint, most recently, just being like, oh, everything's good. Everything, I got it. Put it on the shoulders. I can take it. Oh, you build up to this high performance, world-class level of athlete. And you're like, oh, I've been building and taking more risks, doing bigger tricks, going bigger.
Yeah.
And, hitting harder, running faster, what have you.
Yeah.
So after football, I'm like, oh, and my life's not on the line. Like, this is easy. Put it on. I can start a podcast and do this not for profit, get a job, like have 2 kids, move.
Exhausting.
And just like, what? Like,
just saying yes. You were a yes man.
100%. Let's go. I got it.
And no is a hard word for athletes.
Yes. And I would say like the key point in all that is like, I wasn't saying, no, I can't do this anymore during the pandemic, when really what I needed to do was hit the pause button, get a job so I can feed myself and my family, opposed to like, I put everything into this business.
Yeah.
And then, I'm trying to feed my family, and this is my obligation and loyalty and all these things. And I remember looking at my debt load, like personally with my own company and a partnership company. I was just like, I can't, this is not my direction.
Right.
This the buck stops here.
You need to reassess.
Pause. I'm out. Whatever happens. I have my family, my health. It's time to go in a different direction. So that was, again, same things, like taking the deepest, darkest points and really filtering them through. How is this going to affect my time with my family?
Right.
And my mentality was not healthy when I was in that state. And I just made a happier, healthier pivot from being able to do the work with my guides and my coaches.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's finish with the like wellness part. Like, what are you doing? Like, how's your body? You said you worked out this morning. So is that part of your like forever wellness? Is how many days a week do you work out? I personally want to know.
If you check me out on Instagram at Shea Emry, you'll find out. I'm pretty, I am working out 5 days a week.
Okay.
I'm not hitting golf balls right now, but my goal is to be, on the pro tour this upcoming season. And, I am all about, balance, right?
Okay.
So I work out, but I'm not going crazy because, I just want to be healthy and I don't want to be in pain.
Yeah.
Physically, mentally, I'm in a great space.
Awesome.
Physically, I don't think I've ever been stronger.
Yes.
I don't have any lingering injuries.
Oh.
Obviously I have a little bit of tightness in my back and my forearm from literally swinging 1,000% harder I've ever swung a golf club. And, but that being said, really the health and well-being piece is really about the mental capacity that I have to be present with my kids. Because if I can't,
and stealing their candy
or like being playful and present with my wife and like having conversations, opposed to being like, I got this problem at work. I got to do this tomorrow. I got to do
Yeah.
logistics. I forgot to tell you about that. Like, and just
Mhm.
like feeling guilty and feeling shameful for not being able to communicate and organize. And
Yeah.
so I just like that was a key part for me
That's
being
huge.
happier and healthier.
That's so huge.
Yeah.
I really respect that. That's
Thank you.
awesome. So you said where people can find you online.
Mhm.
I do want to just take a moment to do a couple takeaways from this. Is like, gosh, we have come so far in the world of understanding, learning about concussions, which everything changes. I think the doctors assess like every 4 years, the new things that you're going to do.
Mhm.
So we're not really in the dark rooms like we were
Mm-mm.
anymore, which is cool, challenging for us what we went through. But I do want to acknowledge that contact sport is wild.
Mm.
And those names that you dropped earlier, NFL, CFL, that did take their own lives is a serious thing.
Mhm.
And I like kudos to you for acknowledging when your brain was rattled, and then also mentally taking like a check in your head being like, all right, if this is going to happen again, I'm going to step off.
Mhm.
Because it takes a very strong man to be able to say, I'm in this sport, I'm going to be in it for as long as I can.
Mhm.
That's fine and everything, but to have the gusto to say I'm out
Mm.
is huge, I think.
Really, that part, and whether you're an adventure athlete or a soccer, football, tennis, doesn't make a difference. If you've been doing something your whole life
Mhm.
and you're now not competing at the highest level that you've been able to your whole life,
Mhm.
it's tough. So
Mhm.
transition is tough. And for me, I'm grateful that I've had the support system that I've had to transition.
Mhm.
Right. I had my wife, I had a kid, I had, beautiful set of, in-laws and parents and brothers and sisters and people that have supported me and like questioned me and what have
Yeah.
you. But really the unbiased support of a coach, like a
Right.
life coach,
Yeah.
or a counselor or someone in your life that you can, a mentor, an advisor,
Mhm.
is key. You can't like that. That's what Devin and I do. We run Sphere, which is, we provide companies with support for their staff.
Yeah.
We want to coach your people to be better, more prepared humans.
Mhm.
I've been at the top, I've been at the bottom, I've been at the top. I went to the World Championships a month and a half ago in something I hadn't done ever. Right. And it's
Yeah.
really just a testament to getting out there and being pushed to go take risks, because that's what I needed to do. I needed like vigor and
Yeah.
bravado in my life for me to feel like in my foundation again.
Okay.
And only my coach would have known that if they, because I had so many deep conversations with them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, I think what I take from that is that you can't really do it alone.
No.
I mean,
No.
I like to think that sometimes I can do it alone, but then it just, like you said earlier, it just weighs on you and weighs on you.
Mhm.
And so having that support system, I think, is absolutely huge. I'd like to know the next time you're going to Montreal. Is it on your list?
I don't have any in the, but
Any day.
when you asked me
Could
the
happen.
question, I was thinking about like off season or an off day, as in like when I was playing
Okay.
football. This is
Got it.
a decade ago.
Yeah.
But my next trip to Montreal is not in the books, but great people over there,
Yeah.
amazing food,
Yeah.
and a good spa apparently.
Oh my! Yeah. I want to go there now. Thank you so much for dropping in today.
Thanks for having me drop in.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Now, just one more time, your Instagram handle so people can follow you.
My Instagram handle is at Shea Emry, and you can find our business Instagram at sphere.guide.
Awesome.
We're coaching people up.
Thank you, Shea. And you can follow Dropping In online on Facebook and Instagram, and you can follow Mercedes Nicoll everywhere too. Have a good day. Today, you can find everything you want to know about Dropping In with Mercedes at droppinginwithmercedes.com. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Thanks DJ Kenosis for the music and my mom for the intro voice.